Hi folks, this is a video on how we handle our daily accounting tasks here at Saunders Machine Works. Our daily accounting consists of two things: how we handle our receipts, payments, checks, and so forth, and our accounting software, Xero. For the first 8 or 9 years of our business, we, like so many folks, use the QuickBooks desktop accounting software, but we're happy and proud to say as of 2018, we switched to Xero. But what Xero lets us do is it lets us tie in with our Saunders Machine Works website, which generates sales through various different merchant accounts, so somebody can pay us via PayPal or via Stripe. Xero does a better job than QuickBooks of integrating those transactions and talking to each other. So every morning I'll come in to manage account, and for the accounts like our bank account and our Shopify and our credit card, they have under this reconcile option, there's a refresh bank feed. So it'll automatically pull in those transactions every day. And usually I'm able to reconcile our transactions in about 10 minutes. And I find that doing that every day is a good way for me to keep track of what's going on, make sure we don't have any fraudulent things that go on or any big alarms. One of the nice things about Xero, in most of the modern accounting softwares, QuickBooks Desktop requires you to have your financial institution, like your bank or your credit card, offer you their integration service. And for us with Chase and some of the other banks that we've used in the past, that was about $10 a month. But Xero and most of the other modern accounting softwares offer a new level of that integration at no charge. One of the key things that makes Xero awesome is the ability to set rules that actually work. And this was a major limitation of the QuickBooks desktop software. So we have rules that automatically bring in our transactions on a daily basis, and they recognize and they're able to determine, hey, was this a training class sale? Was this a Saunders Machine Works product? Was an NYC CNC membership? And that ties into Xero's chart of accounts. So another accounting software that we recommend for small businesses would be something like Wave. And Wave is great, but Wave is relatively simple. You're only able to have one revenue category. You just have revenue. That doesn't really work for us anymore here at Saunders because I need to know, hey, how much did we sell for training classes, or how much did we sell in this product? So again, the chart of accounts lets us create a different account type so we can have multiple different revenue accounts and multiple different expense accounts, and I can much better track, again, revenue and expenses on a sort of project or product or business division basis. One of Xero's limitations is it's not a great way to print checks. You can create a check, then you have to export it as a PDF, and then you have to print it out. That's not a great way if you're running lots of checks each day. Luckily, this year, when we switched from QuickBooks Desktop over to Xero, we also said no more checks. Frankly, the process of checks is absurd. This idea that you've got to create a transaction, you've got to print it, you've got to sign it, stuff it in an envelope, stamp it, etc. So our Chase account, and I believe many other banks, offers free bill pay service. But we're able to save existing vendors here on the left-hand column. And when I need to pay somebody, I can pick one of those vendors. I can type in the invoice amount. I can type in the invoice name, and I click pay this bill. This is a bill pay service. So this is the most basic version of it. What happens is that Chase behind the scenes will actually print the check and mail it to the vendor. Again, the amazing thing to me is I don't have to pay for the stamp. I don't have to pay for the envelope. I don't have to print the check. I don't have to sign anything. And it's all tracked online. Really a phenomenal improvement. Every day that we get paper receipts in or paper invoices, we will put those into a style of file folder that has each month in it. For us, that's a great way of handling this. Eventually, if we grow more, we'll either go digital or we'll have to have something that can handle more volume per month. We're okay for now, but I suspect we may outgrow that. We then use manila envelopes inside those monthly dividers for all of the small receipts. That way, it's easy to slide full-size pieces of paper and full-size invoices into that month's folder, and you're not stuffing them against receipts. All the receipts are held nice and neat inside the manila envelope. We try to go front to back chronologically, but we also don't worry too much about that because usually we won't have more than a few hundred transactions per month. So if we've got to dig through them, not a super big deal. Going digital would be great, except if we did so, I'd really want to do so with some sort of an OCR or scanning capability so that we could search the invoices rather than just scanning them as a static or rastered PDF. At the end of every month, and this is really important, you're going to need to log into your bank account and you're going to need to download that month's statement. I really suggest keeping the PDF locally so that way you don't ever find yourself without it or having to pay your bank to find a really old version of that PDF. and you need to do a monthly reconciliation. So what is a monthly reconciliation? Well, you'll have spent the last month tracking all your revenue and expenses, whether that's in Excel or QuickBooks or Xero or another accounting software. What you need to do is make sure the work that you did over the last month matches the actual activity that your business incurred. In other words, we want to check to make sure there weren't any mistakes. So a reconciliation ties your bank statement to that accounting activity. You're going to match all your revenue with the deposits made into your bank account, and you're going to match all your business expenses with the draws and checks written and so forth out of your bank account. Here's the thing, they're not going to match. And the two most common reasons that they aren't going to match is number one, checks. If you write somebody a check, it's got to get mailed to them, and then they've got to cash it, and that takes time. So if I write somebody a check on, say, the 25th of January, at the end of January, there's a good chance that that check hasn't what's called cleared or been actually taken out of my account. That's going to be a discrepancy that the reconciliation will say, okay, I know this check was written, it hasn't gotten cashed yet, but it probably will in early February. The other reason is just simply end of the month transactions. Sometimes if something happens on the day before the end of the month, or if the end of the month spans over a weekend, you may have just a slight nuance of transactions, again, across those last few days. Not a big deal, but a reconciliation is really important because it means that your books are going to be accurate because you're going to take the time to check them, catch any mistakes, catch any double entries, and so forth. As I mentioned earlier, Wave is a great piece of software if you're a smaller business. It has the benefit of being free. You don't have as much detail there. It also cannot print checks, which is a major limitation of Wave. But all in all, not bad software. We're happy with Xero. You do pay for it. And to be honest, we're still getting some of the kinks worked out. And once we do so, we'd like to dive in more and share about that process. There is a QuickBooks Online platform. I suspect that it is a bit better than the now sort of antiquated QuickBooks desktop software. However, I fundamentally have never liked how Intuit has handled itself with regard to business practices. They've been such a big player in the accounting world for so many years that they tend to not play nicely with other companies, in case of being that they want you to use their payroll or they want you to use their merchant account or other services, and they tend to overcharge massively for those. And they're also just not a really good company ethically when it comes to how they handle customer service and their software design, in my opinion. That being said, it's a huge player in the industry, and the online version is probably a bit better than the past desktop software. One last thing, we are not using this on a daily basis, but we have started to think about it, which is the ability to use if this, then that, to do something like automatically tying in receipts, pulling in receipts to a spreadsheet. And this is amazing. We've really focused on doing things like automating and streamlining how we order materials and supplies. And we try to do almost everything through either MSC, McMaster, or Amazon. And being able to have a recipe like this that automatically dumps that information into an Excel file or a Google Drive is just incredible. That means if you've got to do this manually for some of the other transactions that aren't from those three vendors, it's not too bad. And it gives you this automated database of your monthly activities. So check out If This Then That for smart ways to sort of hack your life when it comes to that. Finally, the other option is card here to our video on using Upwork. You can use a service like Upwork to hire a remote bookkeeper or an accountant. The thing I will stress or emphasize is that person should not have any ability to write checks or move money out of your account. There's too much risk of having that, especially even if it's somebody you know, worse if it's somebody you don't know. It's okay if they help prepare your books, but you don't want them to have control over your money. And for me, though, the biggest lesson that I've learned is we used to batch up our accounting. We used to do our bank import feeds every week or every 2 weeks, and it became burdensome. And we have found it's the power of small doses. Yes, I have to do it every day, but between the Xero rules and keeping it in small doses, we can bang through that accounting in really just a few minutes, and it makes it relatively easy, low stress. And then at the end of the month, we're able to take a step away from that and review our financials from a big picture perspective. For more information on how we operate Saunders Machine Works and all of the business and manufacturing entrepreneurship that we go through, check out under Learn CNC videos on operating a machine shop, as well as under our business section, information about our story and how to start and grow your business.